Good evening, and welcome to the Commission on Disabilities December 12, 2017, 6 p.m. meeting. If we can all rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business is we'll do a roll call. Co-Chair David Hennessy. Present. Enza Goodwin.
Present.
Michelle DeBellis.
Present.
Robert Bent.
Present.
Paul Mazzoni. Absent. And Brian Acero. Absent. First order of business is I would like to introduce and welcome our new COD board member, Robert Bent, to the Commission on Disabilities. We welcome you, and if you'd like to say a few words, welcoming words.
I would just like to thank you and the commission and the mayor's office for everything that you guys have done for me through this process. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been challenging, but it's been something I've been looking forward to for months now. Even though I'm going to get yelled at for this, I also would like to thank my wife, who is my biggest supporter. You know, I mean, without her, I wouldn't be up here. She's been my rock. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know you'll be a welcoming asset to the commission with a lot of knowledge and information that you can bring to us.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is item 2. It's the City of Revere's Commission on Disabilities Accessibility Survey. We're going to have our final decision and suggestions regarding the preliminary draft for approval. What we basically wanted to do was try and have this completed so that we could roll it out in January with the elections office's census. But unfortunately, it's kind of lengthy. So what I wanted to discuss on possibly doing is get the formal completion of this so that we will have it. But what I wanted to do is draw up a letter from the Commission on Disabilities that we can insert with that city census to go out in January, stating that we have the Commission on Disabilities Accessibility Survey. We have it on our website that can be downloaded, and they can also contact our office to receive it. We will have a copy at our office, which is located in Veterans Services, for our Friday office hours. And also, we will leave a copy of it in the mayor's office for them to pick up at their convenience. So I wanted to see any members' thoughts and ideas on first drawing up a letter on that and what your thoughts are and what we should put in that letter. And then secondly, we could work on, I know we had just a couple of changes that we wanted to do on the accessibility survey. So if anybody wants to volunteer any suggestions or ideas on that letter, it can be basically small, just to the point that we have this accessibility survey, what it's about. It's going to be just for the edification of the Commission on Disabilities, so that we know the residents that are out there, what their needs could be down the road to help us for further funding, what areas that we would need to improve on in the city, so that we could actively collect the database for the residents that are out there, and what they would need and what we'd be able to assist them with. So if anybody else has any suggestions or comments on that, please feel free.
Ralph, I just have a question. So on this one-page letter that's going to be going out, is it possible to have that translated in an additional language?
What we can do is on the front side, we can do it in English, and on the rear side, we can do it in Spanish, because Diane Kalala, the commissioner from the Election Commission, looked at it, and they basically said that it would be difficult to do a 3-page double-sided page insert into it, and they priced out to do a double-page one two-sided page. So we could do that. We could do it in English on one side and have it translated on the other side. The thing that she was asking me is if we could try and have that around the 15th, but I can work on her if we need a couple extra days to have that letter drafted. And then as long as that goes out in January, so as long as then I can work on getting this Commission on Disability Accessibility Survey completed so that we have copies for people to pick up, and then I will also scan it into the computer and put it on our disabilities page for people to download and complete, and then they can just either mail it back or do what they do with the census, is they have drop boxes for the census, and I'll see if I can arrange with the election commissioner if they could also drop these off into that same box, so people don't have to mail them back or whatnot. So if that sounds like something that's feasible and agree uponable. Any ideas on how we want to draft a letter, or just basic information that we are conducting a survey? Any ideas on what the letter should basically say? I don't think we want to have it too wordy, just straight to the point, just basically what it's for, what the needs are, to help the residents so that we know what the needs are, where they can pick it up. The locations, they'll pick it up, probably the mayor's office, our office, and also be able to download it on our webpage.
I think just keeping it short and to the point would be the best route, just to let them know that it's available.
Right, and the other thing they can do is they can also call our office if they want to even possibly fill it out over the telephone. Sometimes they want to just fill it out. If we'd be able to assist them in any way possible. I know in the years past, they did do a one-page census, and it was very small, and I tried seeing how I could cut this down, but because of the ADA laws, everything has to be a certain font, and you don't want to make it too small. It's going to be too tough for them to read, and it's not feasible to do it that way. So by cutting it down and making it smaller, it defeats the purpose. So does anybody want to make a motion that we will draw up a letter to send to the Election Commission to add into the city census to go out, that we do have the accessibility survey, the Commission on Disabilities? If anybody makes a motion, and then somebody can second it.
So I support the motion.
Yeah, you would make the motion that we would draft a letter to
So
go.
I make the motion to draft the letter.
And I second that.
Okay. Anyone opposed to that? Okay. Now to move on to the survey. I do have some notes from the first time that we had brought it up, and my notes are not that great. That there was a couple of things that we wanted to just reformat on it, on what we wanted to bring to the forefront that was in the back of it on the survey, and just going to take a look at it. I believe, do you use social media? One of the notes I have on here, choices to pick from, does that ring a bell with Enza? Did you want to elaborate on what we wanted to add there?
So if I recall, I
It's
think...
just yes or no?
Yes.
I can show you a copy of it.
Yeah, that would be great. I think the general idea was we were looking to see what kinds of social media that people utilize, so that if there were one or two, thank you, excuse me, that came up often, then those maybe would be some target areas of disseminating information to people.
So we can leave you would suggest maybe leaving a line and what type?
Yeah.
So yes, no, and then what type?
And then, yeah.
Okay. And the, trying to think, there was something that you wanted to reposition, I think, on this.
So Ralph, I think one of the items was.
The end of the last page?
Yeah, so, under.
How did you, the assistance filling
Do you
out this
need,
form?
right, do you need assistance filling out this form? It would almost make sense that if someone did need assistance, perhaps that should be on the first page, right, right in the beginning, so that if assistance was needed, they could get it immediately instead of just discarding it or trying their best to do it on their own without having much
Okay,
success.
so should we put that right under,
That should-
should that be under A? We would call that number 1.
Yeah,
Okay, so we would make that A1 and then just push everything down. Now, me and Robert, we had a meeting today regarding open space and recreation facilities. Do you think we would need to add anything in here for needs and wants, or do you think this is good enough for, I'm thinking for children or whatnot? We could elaborate on that at another time. Basically, we would just go with this to see what we have out there for disability community. Then if we see that we have a lot of younger adults and children, then we can reach out to them after to elaborate more and have a more collaborative meeting with them. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's my general consensus. That's why I added the age brackets on this, to see. Like I said, I drew this up and I looked at a bunch of different cities, towns, and states that had one, and I pulled things in and out of it and added a few things to it. So that's where I got this, and just the input from you guys is tremendous on getting this to fruition. I think it's another step in the right direction for our community to better assist our disabled community and disabled families that are out there. It'd just be a tremendous tool, because this will help us create the database that's well needed and help us go out to be able to sustain some funding for areas of need that are out there. Okay. So if that's what we, if that's all the only changes that's the changes that we've seen. The other thing that I since we are not going to have to worry about getting this into the census, I did reach out to Dr. Vidala for his input on it also, and he made some valid points that were great on it. That what I want to try and do is not have a question run on to another page. Try and keep the same question on the page. So that's what I'll work on when I restructure this, so that if there's like a 7th and an 8th question, that I try to keep it all onto the same page where possible, or at least don't have the answer to the question on another page. So we'll do that. And like I said, I think this will greatly benefit us. So we'll move on from that, and we'll take it to the next step. If Enza, if you have a problem with doing it, let me know. I'll talk to Diane Colella. I'll see as much time that we can get, because since we're only going to do, it's the matter is it has to get to the printer. The printer has to print it out, then they do all the folding and they do all the inserting. So as long as they know that it's going to be a 1-page insert, that should help them greatly, so that they know the pricing, and that will come that the payment will come from the Commission on Disabilities allocated funds that we have, which will be the next step that I have to figure out on how to get that, get that paid.
Okay, so Ralph, just to be clear, so for this Friday, just a one-page or less blurb about
Exactly what it, yeah, with our information that we have the survey,
Okay.
with our, where they'll be able to pick it up,
Yes.
our office, any information you need.
Okay.
I believe our office address, if I gave you the right one, has our office address right on it with the phone number on the last page of that, if that's the copy. If not, I have the correct copy that has it on the survey for you.
Okay. This just has a phone number.
Okay,
and-
I'll get that to you. I'll make sure I have that, the full address where the Veteran Services, the Commission on Disabilities is in the Veteran Services, and, we'll have a copy. I'm sure the mayor's office will be in full agreement that we can leave copies of it there for them to be able to, residents to be able to pick it up. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. So many papers here. The next item that we will go to is the update of city events for December. Is that what I have next? That's
Yes, number 3, yeah.
Yes. If Enza, if you want to
Yeah.
take that?
So we're excited to announce or to share that in conjunction with Revere CPAC, we're going to be hosting a holiday party for children ages 3 to 12 with special needs on this coming Sunday, December 17th, from 12:45 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. at the Rumney Marsh Academy. Children will enjoy a bouncy house, crafts, cookie decorating, pizza and drinks, as well as a visit from Santa. Cost is only $10 for families up to 4, and we would greatly appreciate an RSVP if possible. We are also excited to note that Representative DeLeo has donated gifts for the children. Revere Public School has covered the cost of the gym rental. Revere Recreation is covering, or I should say supplying the bouncy house as well as a few other items for the gym. And Row to Revere is covering the cost of food and snacks. So it's definitely been a group effort, and a lot of people have stepped up for us, and for that we are extremely grateful. We are also still continuing to run our playgroup on Monday nights at the Rec, and that generally takes place from 6 to 7:30 p.m. for children ages 3 to 9 with special needs. And at this time, CPAC is not holding a meeting in December, but we will reconvene in January.
Thank you, Enza, for that update for November. Okay. Moving on to the next item is, item 4 is old business. The first item is regarding the municipal ADA planning grant that the Commission on Disabilities applied for. I was in communication with Jeff Duggan from the MOD office, and he told me that this process was a little bit more lengthy than the one that we applied for in the summertime. So what is happening on this one is, unfortunately, it closed on November 17th, but we will not know until approximately around January 15th. There's a lot more details involved in it. I had asked him approximately how many people have applied for the grant, and he said roughly 90 communities applied for it, and for a total of around $90 million in total, and I believe there is $1 million that is allotted for this grant. Whereas we had asked for in our grant for the planning grant for $125,000. So I thought we were going to know by now, but unfortunately, he said it's a little bit more lengthy of a process than the previous one that we applied for. So hopefully we will know either way by around January 15th, January 17th, he was thinking. So as soon as I know, I will let you know. Hopefully it'll be sooner. If not, we'll know right around that time. The next item that I have on here is on old business, and I also have it as a late item to, because some more has happened on it, is the update regarding the Metro Boston Homeland Security Region, the MBHSR Working Group Project Management Team, the PMT. The next steps was that the bid process for that had closed on Monday, December 4th at 2 p.m. And the primary deliverables from this effort were to be separated by transportation plans for critical transportation needs, which abbreviates to CTN. The CTN populations, 9 in total, because there's 9 communities that are involved in this for each MBHSR jurisdiction, in an RFP template that addresses the transportation requirements for the CTN population. A project management team, PMT, was established, in which I was asked to be part of, to review and evaluate the received RFP proposals and participate in interviews with qualified vendors. The process involved me reviewing the RFP proposals that I received on December 4th and completed an evaluation form for each one by December 11th at noontime, and then participated in one day of interviews at the Boston EOC in Roxbury. When I was asked to be on the PMT evaluation team, I had told them that I was honored to be on it, and I had no problem going through the proposals, but that I would not be able to be part of the interviewing process because I had a prior commitment on those days. So they went back to the state legal counsel, and then they came back to me, and they said that legal had decided that it was fine. They wanted me to be able to review the RFPs and fill out the evaluation forms, and they would oversee me being involved in the interview process. But it was important for me to at least review the RFPs, being from Revere and on the Commission on Disabilities. So I did do that. I was a little bit late on it because we didn't receive a couple of the references from a couple of the vendors that submitted their RFPs until 11:30 Monday morning. So I did the ones that I could, and everything was sent into them by 12:20 on the Monday. So I worked on them night and day. Let me tell you, I never went through an RFP before. They, not at liberty to say who the companies were, but the RFPs ranged from 40 to 60 pages of detailed information. It was a learning process, which was good. You know, like I said, this is a learning process, and you learn a bunch of different things, which is good, and it's to benefit our disabled population. So I was honored to be asked to be on it. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. The next late item that I have is I was contacted yesterday by Kristen McGosh, who's the Disability Commissioner for the City of Boston. She wanted to introduce herself and see about having discussions about the Suffolk Downs project. Specifically, they wanted to ensure that the Complete Streets guidelines are implemented on all the public right-of-ways in both Boston and Revere. And I put the link. The guidelines can be found here at bostoncompletestreets.org, and it's in the email that I had sent everybody today, because I got that so everybody can take a look at that if you want. And I also received the revised and updated copy of the Municipal Resources Guide that was done September 2017, which I emailed to everyone because it's 51 pages long and it's too much to print out. Then I contacted the mayor's office that I put in the notes here to see if the commission would be included in the city's discussion with the developers, and I'll follow up with her later because I don't want to move ahead on anything with any city or town municipalities without the approval of, of the mayor's office. So I'm just waiting to hear on that, but I think it would benefit us greatly. Like I stated today at today's meeting, there's going to be a lot of open space in this project, which could greatly benefit a lot of the disabled community, along with a lot of the other residents in the city of Revere. So input would probably be greatly beneficial to everyone. So I don't know if anybody has any feelings or thoughts on that.
No, I think, I hope I can speak for everyone here that if it's possible, I think we would all want to be on board
Yeah.
and support you and the commission any way we can with it.
Definitely. That's what, if we get the approval to move forward, definitely, I would even ask them if they would like to come to our meeting and try and have an open dialogue, or see, I know a few of yous work during the day, and see if they would be able to accommodate nightly meetings if we move forward that way, because input, everybody knows input from everyone is greatly appreciated and needed. So that's what's needed for everything to work out in the right way. Okay. I don't know if anyone else has any old business or any late items. Okay. We don't have any residents here. The only other late item that I just received before tonight's meeting is, unfortunately, a commission member, Brian Acero, has had to resign from the commission for personal reasons. I told him I wish him the best. It was unfortunate that I received that email from him. And I told him if something changes in the future to please let us know, and if there's anything that is needed from us, to personally reach out to myself or anyone on this commission. I wish he did not have to do it, but it's just, I guess, unforeseen circumstances. But like we all know, family comes first. So family comes first. But Brian, you'll be missed. And I'd also like to wish Paul Mazzoni a speedy recovery. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and he was in good spirits and doing good. And hopefully he'll be back in the new year. With that, I'd like to wish our residents, today is the first day of Hanukkah, a happy Hanukkah, and the rest of our residents a happy holiday. And our next meeting will be Tuesday, January 9th. Now, you ready for this? 2018. So at 6 p.m. So if I could have a motion to adjourn. Okay, and we are adjourned. So we will see everybody next year. Thank you. Have a good night.